If you remember from last week, our theme for Advent is encounter and engage. And last week, we used the word longing. That was in the first reading last week. That we're never going to get to a point where we can encounter the Lord unless we want to do that, unless we have a longing for it. It's true, sometimes the Lord just seems to show up, but normally we have to want that. And today, the readings about John the Baptist, anytime you think of John the Baptist, the word that sort of comes up is prepare. Prepare the way of the Lord. That's what John was told to do. Get people's hearts and minds ready so that when Jesus shows up, they'll get it. They'll be prepared for that. And you and I, we know a ton about preparing. You know, some of you, of course, are preparing for Christmas. You know, you did the lights and the decorations, and some of you have started cooking, and, you know, maybe there's some here who still send out Christmas cards. Those kind of preparations, the gift buying, that sort of thing. So we know about preparing. There are others here that you have taken on the challenge of some maybe sport endeavor. You know, ran a half marathon or something like that. I suspect you did not wake up one morning and say, I think I'll go run a marathon and just run out the door. You prepared for that. So we know about preparing. The question spiritually is, well, okay, if I want to seek an encounter with God, a fresh encounter maybe, or a first-time encounter with God, if that's what I want, what do I need to do to prepare for that to happen? But if you stop and think about it, there's probably nobody in this room who could not come up with the same list that I came up with middle of the week. What do you do spiritually to prepare? You pray, maybe do a little fasting, if that's helpful to you. You can read the Bible, read the Christmas story, since we're in that season. Maybe watch some video, something that inspires you. Those would be the ways you prepare. But are not those the same sort of things that we're actually supposed to be doing all the time? I mean, we're not just supposed to pray only when we're getting ready, getting ready for an encounter with God. We're supposed to be praying all the time, and we should be reading our Bibles more often than not. So what's missing? I think that was what happened to me. Middle of the week, I was thinking about this, and I realized I think I'm missing something. Because I guess at the beginning of thinking about this homily, I thought I would get to this point and say, oh, okay, we're going to prepare. Here's 3 steps to prepare, and just talk about them. But then I realized how obvious those steps were, and something's missing. I think I know what it is. In thinking about this, I was reminded of a story a couple years ago when I went on a bicycling vacation. It'll sound strange to some of you, but I enjoy bicycling, and every couple of years I'll sign up for a trip. In this case, it was in Virginia in the Shenandoah Valley, where I was going to cycle from Monday through Friday, but not in the valley, in the mountains. And you do have to appreciate that I live in Florida, and it's flat. And so trying to get ready to ride 50, 60 miles a day up and down mountains is a bit of a challenge. And I had done it before. I had done this particular trip some years before, and had done some other trips in the mountains. And I sort of knew generally how to prepare, ride extra mileage leading up to it, eat a little better, those kind of things. I did all that. But I remember that my preparations for the first time I did this particular trip in Virginia, I thought they were fine, and Monday was a joy, and Tuesday was okay, and Wednesday was ouch, I am sore, and by Thursday I was not enjoying the vacation at all. I was pretty much suffering up these mountains. And so that year when I signed up for the trip for the second time, I did not think to myself, okay, I need to get ready for the trip. I had a very specific vision in my mind of exactly what I was preparing for. And it was simply that I wanted to enjoy Thursday. That was my goal. I want to enjoy Thursday, this big day of climbing. And it was like, if I can be in enough shape, feel good enough, so the point is I can just enjoy this wonderful day. And if you ask me right now to tell you the best hour I ever spent on a bicycle, after all the thousands of miles I have ridden, it would be the afternoon of that Thursday. After coming back over a mountain, I just had this amazing hour ride through the coming down and on the valley of that area, because I was ready for it. I had prepared for it. But it was, I think the trick was, I had the vision in my head, if you will. I had this picture. That's specifically what I want. And I think that might be what's missing for us as we think of getting ready for Christmas. It's too vague. Like, what do you want? What do you and I want? As we are thinking, okay, I want to encounter with God this Christmas season. What exactly are we after? St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, had a really interesting practice that he did often when he was going to go to pray. He would walk into he'd get to the chapel, say, but instead of just walking in and starting his prayer, he would stand at the door of the chapel and offer a preliminary prayer, if you will. He would just say, for example, Lord, you know I have come here because I'm feeling worn and heavy and down, and I come to this prayer, and what I want out of this prayer is your comfort and your presence. Or he would, get to the entryway of his room, and he was going to do, like night prayer, and he might say to the Lord, hey, I'm coming to this time of prayer where I want your peace so that as I do my prayer, I might sleep well. Things like that. And it dawned on me, that's, I think, what you and I need to do. What do we want from God? So I don't know what your answer will be for this, but I'll tell you mine. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, it's amazing things. It's great celebrating the masses. It's also crazy busy. A lot of logistics, lots of extra stuff going on. Got to make sure everything's set up. Got to make sure lots of extra people around, certainly lots more people in the pews. And it's easy to get so distracted by that you don't even remember it. And you end up Christmas afternoon and you're just exhausted as a priest. You haven't encountered the Lord. You haven't enjoyed it. You haven't really even prayed much. And so my vision where I want the Lord to show up is at the masses of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I want to prepare myself so that everything is all set and ready to go, and so that when Wayne leads us, come all ye faithfuls who start in the Mass, I can feel that, and I can feel the presence of the Lord, and I can encounter the Lord here at this altar this Christmas in a way that didn't really happen maybe in other years past. That's mine. Maybe it would be yours. Maybe you could set up a similar sort of thing. Well, wouldn't it be nice to come Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and at Mass in a way that's different than, like today, for example, you can really encounter the Lord. Wouldn't that be just kind of a wonderful thing? And so I leave it to you as your homework. What are you preparing for? What are you longing for? I think the more specific you can make that, the better off we'll be. And I can assure you, I suspect that if you do it, if you have that desire and you prepare for it, no doubt in my mind, the Lord will show up. He'll answer our prayers.